Ajay Bakaya, who is joining us on the show right now. Hi, a very good morning, Mr. Bakaya. Firstly, help us understand that what immediate impact have you seen on the bookings and the occupancy levels since the attack has happened in Pahalgam, and what kind of a financial impact are hotels already seeing, if any?
Well, yeah, we're seeing it already, but my just a moment or two to convey a sense of loss, a sense of condolence, a sense of empathy to families of people who have lost their lives, families of people who are in hospital, and people who themselves were injured. But yes, the short-term impact is pretty bad. This is the time of the year when we do anywhere between a 90, 95 to 100% occupancy in Srinagar. We have Sarovar has 3 hotels in the valley in Srinagar city itself, one close to the airport, 2 in the city, and all 3 are reeling from about a 99, 95% occupancy down to a below 30% occupancy. There is still some business, but my sense is that the big business months of April, May, and June will take a large hit. Memories are short, and I see people coming back once again as long as the situation there remains stable. And I'm sure the state will do everything in its might to build that stability. But short term, it is hurting. It's hurting everyone in the valley.
Okay, Mr. Bakaya, this is Nehi also joining in. Good to be chatting with you this morning. We are hearing from various tourism players that Kashmir bookings for the summer holidays have dropped sharply. Can you quantify the scale of cancellations for us? You just said that we're expected to see a hit. Would you be able to quantify that for us?
The window of bookings in India is typically not more than 30 days, even for a busy hill station. So which means that I only have forward bookings for the month of May, largely. There will be some for June, but it's largely month of May. And that month of May, as I said, has gone from 100% to a 30%. So we have 200 rooms, and for all of those 200 rooms, instead of doing 200 rooms a night, I'm now doing 60 rooms a night. So the impact is huge. And as I said, the months of May and June do not look very healthy. Going forward, things will probably get better.
But Mr. Bakaya, how long do you think the current impact could last, and till when can continue impact the hotel industry if the situation escalates?
The simple answer is nobody ever wins a war. But if the situation does escalate, and I'm sure we're going to see some escalation at some stage, it's not knee-jerk, it has to be planned out. If there is escalation, it means it's a bad sign for business. You are then dependent on field reporters and people from the armed forces, people from the security services, and journalists to fill up your hotel. And although it replaces some of your business, it's not the happy tourist that's coming in. So if the situation escalates, it's always bad for business. How bad is difficult to quantify.
Well, all right. And this tragic incident has deeply shaken the tourism community, given that the region has faced similar challenges before, albeit not to this extent, unfortunately. Has the industry developed a response framework or contingency plan to support tourists and restore confidence in the region once again?
First attack, first incident involving a tourist or involving an outsider. And that's what's been shocking. The big difference between anything that's happened in the past and what's happened now in Pahalgam is that there is no local support for what happened in Pahalgam. And it may have served a purpose, it may have served some people some ends. But I think with the forces doubling down on Srinagar, I would certainly hope and pray that a similar incident does not happen again. I cannot predict the future, but I personally feel reasonably secure. I have been through the valley over the last 20 years, through the worst of terrorism and through good times and bad times, myself personally, many times for work and for holidays. And while you had to be careful, as a tourist, you felt you had a certain level of freedom to walk around and do what you wanted to, as long as you kept in certain specific places. So that dynamic has changed. I think it's going to reverse again, and it'll take a few months for it to reverse, as long as nothing happens. I am an eternal optimist, and I think good things will prevail. Good people will prevail, and hopefully we see peace and almond blossoms and cherry blossoms and tulips blooming rather than wilting.
Well, yes, Mr. Bakaya, but India has shut nearly half of the Kashmir tourist spots following the security review. What kind of an impact do you see from this move? And while Kashmir tourism has slowed down after the attack, are green shoots showing in some of the other regions?
It would depend a lot upon the overall situation in the valley and across out, in the nearby places to the valley. There's lots of people to see, but I think it's just not the right atmosphere at the moment. There's enough and more for you to see and visit. But would a tourist, with all this in the background, opt to go to Srinagar and explore the valley? At the moment, I don't think so. If you had that kind of carnage a couple of days ago, you really don't want to be there and having fun. That'll change. As I said, in my mind, 3 odd months before it all bounces back, or starts to bounce back. However, having said all that, Kashmir's loss, unfortunately, is the gain for a lot of other destinations. So Uttarakhand has gone into higher gear. Himachal has gone into a higher gear. There's much more demand for Goa today than used to exist even a week ago. So I think the tourists will travel, but is not traveling back to Kashmir in the immediate future. Kashmiris are resilient people overall. I think they will want to bounce back. There are a lot of livelihoods depending upon tourists coming in. So I think it's a matter of time before things get back to normal, as long as the macro dynamics are working towards normalcy.
Okay, and Mr. Bakaya, before we let you go, any numbers you could share in terms of your business outlook?
Well, we've been talking and we've been doing, actually. If you follow the calendar year, as some of us do, we've seen double-digit growth over in 23, 24, now in 2025. So and with the addition of new hotels, most of the hotel companies, hotel industry in India, is anywhere between 15 and 20% growth year on year. Kashmir would be an aberration, but I think the rest of India marches on. The fundamentals in India still remain very strong.
Okay, sounding optimistic on fundamentals in India still remaining strong. Mr. Bakaya, great chatting with you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.